My heart is hurting right now for several of my friends who were recently informed that their relatives, loved ones, and friends have been diagnosed with cancer, and they have in turn reached out to me to ask that I connect with those friends, loved ones, and family members. Um, the truth is, I feel that because I know what that diagnosis represents. But as a recovering patient myself, I am not in a position to do that. So what I want to do instead of reaching out to the various individuals that people would like me to reach out to, until God gives me the okay to do that, I'm going to continue to operate in self-care and just hold space for myself and my children and just continue to pray for those who are battling. But what I can do is share from this platform based on my own experience. And so, what I'd like you to do is if you have a loved one who was recently diagnosed with cancer or any chronic sickness for that matter, what I'm going to encourage you to do for them are the following things. And these are just a few things just based on my own experience that I can say I would really encourage people to do when you know you have someone in your family who has been hit with this diagnosis and you're reeling, you're panicking, you're worrying, you're scared, but they're also feeling that 10 times more. So this post is really for those of you who want to know what to do when you get the news that your loved ones will be going through this journey. First thing, don't withdraw. One of the worst things you can do to a loved one, a friend, or a family member when you find out that they've been diagnosed with a chronic sickness is to pull away from them. Many times people do that because they are afraid for the person. They automatically think the worst case scenario. Quite frankly, a cancer diagnosis is not necessarily a death sentence, so get that out of your head. Technology has improved, and if it's caught at the right time, and if it be God's will, that may not be the thing that takes you out, so, or takes your loved one out. So immediately challenge that belief that this is a death sentence. And don't pull yourself away. They need you now. So don't withdraw. Find the godsend and the grace to be there for them. Then secondly, don't treat them like they're a patient. Like all of a sudden they can no longer think for themselves, make decisions for themselves. They are no longer relevant or needed. Because you got to figure that this is the same person, just with a new set of information to work with. So still treat them with respect and dignity. Treat them as though they have use. They're useful. It's the same person, just embarking on a new journey. Don't ask, if you need anything, let me know. We are so conditioned to ask that question. It's become a cliche. And the truth is, we are well-meaning when we ask, let me know if you need anything. That is one of the hardest things for a patient who has been hit with a diagnosis or going through the battle to figure out. They can't figure out what you can do for them. So what you have got to do is figure it out for yourself and say, okay, what would I need if I was in this position? Or ask them, say, listen, I want to help. I want to be here, but give me specifics. But don't just throw it out there. If you need anything, let me know. Of course, they're going to need a lot. So take the initiative and try to figure out what you can do. On the flip side, if you ask if they need something and you know you are not in a position to deliver, don't disappoint. Because it's so embarrassing when someone asks you, what do you need? What can I do for you? And you tell them, and then there's no response. There's no reply. I can speak from personal experience. There's a sense of shame and embarrassment when you have been vulnerable to reply to someone's request and then they don't follow up, they don't reply. So just be mindful of that. Another thing you don't want to do is to constantly send information to the person about articles you've read, videos you've seen, the latest in cancer research, or remedies. Each person's cancer diagnosis is different, and each person's treatment plan is uniquely designed for their body. I know that people are well-meaning and have the best of intentions, but when you take it upon yourself to begin to pass on information that may not even be relevant to that person's cancer diagnosis, it provides misinformation, and if the person adheres to what you have sent them, they could mess up what their medical team is trying to do. So as a matter of courtesy and respect, I would encourage you not to do that. Do not tell people what to do about their bodies if you are not their medical team, if you are not the ones reading their results, if you're not the ones seeing what their body is doing. You mean well, but it really isn't the wisest thing to do, because each person's journey, each person's treatment, each person's recovery is different. And lastly, for now, if you're a praying person, pray. Then after you pray, do something. It's one thing to say, I'm praying for you. But believe me when I tell you, when someone is hit with a cancer diagnosis or a diagnosis of a chronic sickness, it takes more than prayer. And if you really ever cared about this person, it's time to be practical. It's time, when I sat down this year and tallied all of my medical expenses, I know there is a God, because of the number of things I had to pay for that wasn't even covered by insurance. So people are going to need you to step up in practical ways. What does that look like? It could mean helping with grocery. It could mean helping with transportation. It could mean sitting with them for an hour or two just to laugh and kick back and watch something funny. Cancer patients don't want to talk about cancer all the time. Quite frankly, 2017 was it for me, and I don't intend to keep talking about it. So I don't post about it all the time, because I'm now a recovering transplant patient, not a cancer patient. I've learned a lot and I will share, but it's not something we want to talk about all the time. But it also doesn't mean that if we want to talk, you shouldn't be present. So that's the last thing I'm going to ask you to do. Pray, but also find ways to be present, to actually be there. Not quoting scriptures all the time and having long prayer meetings. That works too, believe me. But this person is going through or about to go through the biggest battle of their life. What could be the biggest battle of their life. And if you ever cared any at all, this is the time to show your heart. This is not the time to back away. And if you genuinely cannot handle it, then figure out creative ways to be supportive. But I beg of you, don't leave your friends by the wayside because their diagnosis is now official. Because you will never know when it will be your turn. You will never know when that dreaded disease will hit your family. And nowadays, the way our society is with the pollution and everything going on, it's such a common thing right now that we need to honestly know how to care for our loved ones when they have been diagnosed and when they are going through. So that's why I'm sharing this evening, because I am not in a position to connect personally with each person that I've been asked to connect with. I can't. I can't. I really can't. It's too heavy. Carrying my journey alone is just too heavy. But it doesn't mean I don't want to share what I have learned in my process and in the journey. These are just a few things to get you started. Think about what else you can do as you be Jesus to someone. And can I tell you one more thing? If you are a Christian and you have someone going through a cancer journey or a chronic sickness journey, and you haven't yet figured out a way to show forth the love of Christ, then yeah, you are in a serious place of drought, of lack, because the grace of God that you're going to expect to carry your loved one is the same grace of God that will carry you as you sit in that place and hold that person. So I beg of you, don't allow fear to cause you to withdraw, to step back, to pull away. This is the time to tap into your faith and allow God to enable you to be His hands and His heart extended. And let me actually go there. If your loved one only has a few weeks or a few months to live, then take the approach that you're going to make it the best for them. Create memories. Share honest feelings. Tell them how you really feel. Do things that will make lasting, meaningful memories. Don't hide from the possibility that it could be transition time, but seek to look at life in different ways and make the very best of every chance you have to connect with that person. Cancer is not the end for everybody. It could be the beginning of the rest of their lives. I sure hope it is for me. And I give God thanks for the experience, the lessons learned, the ones I'm still learning, the faith that is being polished and developed. And as I learn, I pledge to share, just as I would if I was in the classroom teaching my undergraduate students. My goal to God is, my promise to God is, as I learn, as I go through, I will share for the betterment and the benefit of others. God bless you. Go be Jesus to a patient who's waiting for you.